You're listening to Free Zone Radio. Two men passing the time, telling stories, arguing, laughing, and waiting for something, anything to change. For Free Zone Radio, I'm Jason Crockett, and this is Second Stage. It's a play about nothing. Well, it's a play where almost nothing happens. And somehow, everything happens. Waiting for Godot gives us two men on a roadside near a tree, filling the day with conversation, arguments, jokes, and small kindnesses while waiting for someone who never arrives. Vladimir and Estragon pass the time the only way they know how, by talking. They bicker, they reminisce, they help each other with boots and hats, and they keep deciding to leave, only to stay put. Each day looks suspiciously like the one before it. Same place, same questions, same arguments, same waiting. The structure is almost a dare. Act 1, waiting, with jokes. Act 2, waiting, with bruises. Nothing is resolved. No lesson is learned. The ending circles back in on itself. And yet, the play isn't bleak so much as it is familiar. Author Samuel Beckett doesn't promise us any answers, but he does give us routines as survival, laughter as ballast. Friendship may be the only thing that makes the waiting bearable. The world doesn't seem to offer us any meaning on demand, and neither does the writer. But companionship might be the thing that keeps silence from swallowing you whole. In a strange way, Vladimir and Estragon feel less like tragic figures in this play, and more like co-workers at the end of a long school day. Tired, irritated, repeating the same old frustrations, arguing the same old arguments, complaining the same old complaints, and still laughing when some kid wanders in and says something out of pocket, random, off the wall, unexpected. Which is why I could never have done this episode without Drew, my fellow traveler on the road, hat in hand, wondering if today's the day Godot finally shows up for us. So before we all head into Christmas break, let's sit by the tree for a bit and talk about waiting, teaching, and why we keep showing up anyway. You may sit on the council, but you do not have the rank of Pharisee.
What?
You may sit upon the Sanhedrin, but you are not.
You may be an elder. You may sit amongst the deacons, but you are not one.
You can collect the offering, but you can't. You can't do that.
Oh, geez.
So, waiting for Godot.
Waiting for Godot.
I think we just have to wait here another 60 minutes.
What are we doing?
Who?
Us.
Now?
Yes.
When?
Right now.
Because why?
We're waiting for Godot. I feel like that was sometime.
Two sinners.
Two sinners hung next to Christ. I hope I'm not boring you.
I have noticed that several of the plays that I picked for this fall semester are repeating a pattern. And I know I didn't consciously make that choice. So it's either more of a comment about me subliminally. What am I like? Oh, I want to do these plays first. What am I subliminally attracted to? Or maybe it's more a comment about what is theater drawing us toward. But you have Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, which Courtney and I talked about. Are you at all familiar with that one?
I listened to the episode.
Yeah.
That was it.
It's just briefly, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern from Hamlet are basically dead, and they're caught in a purgatory afterlife where they're repeating the same thing over and over. And then, come on in. I literally just said Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead, and you showed up.
Well, that's what I bring with me. I'm the harbinger of death. And I feel like I just went.
This is why I bought it, just for accidents like this. Where were we? When?
We were waiting.
Now? Mm-hmm. For what?
For Godot.
You don't even know him.
Was that him that just came through?
When?
then.
Yesterday?
No, right then. You helped him get paper.
Oh.
You don't remember?
There's a rock in my shoe.
How many men beat you last night?
Right there. But yeah, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are basically caught in the afterlife, and they're repeating the same story over and over in like a limbo purgatory. And then we got into Long Day's Journey into Night with Toby, and it tells the story of the Tyrone family in one 24-hour period stuck in one household where they are talking about everything except for the real problems that all of them are aware of and none of them want to touch. It's like the third rail. If we touch it, we are going to collapse. So they all get right up to the edge of it, and then they're like on the edge of argument. And then they just go back to, oh, yeah, what a day. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Let's drink some more, blah, 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 blah. But it feels like an unnaturally long day. Like, I mean, it's called Long Day's Journey into Night. It's a long day. Like, it makes me think, are we still in purgatory? Like, are we as the Tyrone family repeating this whole thing? And then I opened up Waiting for Godot, and I was like, oh man, Waiting for Godot. Is this another purgatory play? Like, what are we supposed to take out of this? Is it a purgatory play?
Maybe to an extent, yeah. Because they are waiting, and it's almost like a pointless waiting. Because it's like you were kind of joking about earlier. They wait and wait and wait, and then here comes a brother, and he says, Godot says he'll meet you here tomorrow. Okay. And then they show up, and then here comes the other brother at the end of the next day, and he says, Godot says he'll meet you here tomorrow. And they say, what is he doing right now? Right. He's just sitting at home.
Right. But also this boy, whoever this boy is, also says that he beats my brother.
Yeah.
And then the next day when you see him, it's not the same boy. And he's like, no, I wasn't here yesterday. Yeah. That might have been my brother.
Even Estragon is kind of like, who's Pato?
Right.
He's like, don't you remember? Here comes Pato. Who's Pato?
Weren't we just here yesterday? Yeah. It reminds me of on your show when we were talking about the gunslinger and are we remembering details correctly? Has the world moved on? Because he finally just gets so frustrated he takes both of his boots off, Estragon, right? And then he leaves them by a tree. Well, when they come back the next day, those aren't my boots. Somebody came by and changed boots and left me these boots. Am I remembering this right? Were we here yesterday?
This tree had leaves on it yesterday.
This is weird. Like, what's going on with this? You have an author, Samuel Beckett, here. Do you know anything about him?
I've heard of Samuel Beckett. I don't know if I've read any of his stuff.
There's a couple reasons why I picked this play for you.
I was wondering that because every time I listen, you're like, oh, I picked this play specifically.
Yeah.
And I was thinking,
why do you think I picked this play for you?
Clue.
You don't have any guess?
Because I'm willing to read anything.
Well, that's close. That's one.
Yeah.
You are willing to be open-minded and read like anything. Another reason is if this is an existential play, considering what are we even doing here? What's our role as humans? What's our role with God? Like, what's our role anywhere? That's a conversation I would have with you.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Right? But also, in your show, one of the first episodes of Deadman's books covered was a story. What was it called? The book? Oh, come on. It was about the Provos and the Irish.
Oh, Say Nothing.
Say Nothing.
Yeah.
Which was about Irish circumstances, right? And Samuel Beckett's an Irish writer.
Well, I noticed something. I was reading a little bit about Samuel Beckett because I have an Irish section in my library.
Yeah.
And I was trying to figure out if I should put Beckett in there or not.
Oh, I think you have to now.
And, well, he wrote this play in France, but he reminded me a lot of James Joyce.
I like that comparison.
They were they were contemporaries, and they both left Dublin for the same reasons.
Yeah.
Joyce moved to Switzerland, and Beckett moves to France. But they were both fed up with the Catholic Church, essentially. If you read the story Dubliners, you've got all these short stories in this novel, and they're all kind of connected, not like in a sense of, oh, I know this person, but essentially you've got the city of Dublin, and these stories are kind of interacting at the same period. They're just not interacting with each other. And one thing that I talked about with my class is there's a huge motif of death and decay in each story. And when you start to look at it, it's Joyce is really going after the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
And basically how he was Catholic, but he was upset that the Irish government had chosen to hitch their wagon with the Catholic Church, which essentially led to the first round of the Troubles.
Yeah.
And he was kind of fed up with that, and he felt like that there was rot in the church and things like that. So when I saw that Beckett had went to France and written this, and I kind of read a little bit more, it reminded me a lot of James Joyce.
Mr. Ward, you are requested to report to the CTE building, please.
Your position. Mr. Haston, you need to be in room 103.
Remember that meeting you were supposed to be in charge of? It's starting without you. I think it must be one of the dumbest mistakes you can ever make to tick off a really good writer, because they're going to immortalize you one way or
And spend the rest of their life.
to tick off a really good writer, they're always going to remember you.
Ask the Jonas Brothers and John Mayer.
The Joe Bros.
Taylor,
the classic
what's his
lit.
name? Taylor Lautner.
Taylor Lautner?
Is that the guy in Twilight?
I don't know.
Oh, I'm just going through Taylor Swift's boyfriends.
I brought Sam Beckett and you brought Taylor Swift.
High poetry right there.
Well, what a perfect conversation for this. You're right. Really good writers are going to be writing in a mode of rejection against the problems in the world around them, because nobody else. I mean, we may all be complaining, but maybe nobody's doing enough about it. And even if we are, somebody needs to speak up. And it's more than just sitting there complaining about it. Let's speak up. Let's get this out there. Let's perform this. And so he's writing, this is after World War II. World War I tended to break people's consciousness. It broke people out of this idyllic nature of what civilization is. And here's World War II that witnessed the Holocaust. What kind of world is the civilized world? Is a civilized set of kingdoms and monarchies and everything? What are we making?
I mean, it goes into a couple things too. Right now, I know that when the Russia-Ukraine stuff started, I can remember telling my wife, people want to boast about Western civilization, how we are more advanced than other civilizations in the world, and yet we still can't stop having wars in Europe. I mean, it's like at a 30, 40-year cycle, Yeah. I mean, even back before, I can still remember when I was a kid, the Bosnia stuff going on,
right.
Also, too, though, one thing I wanted to mention is I tell my students this all the time. Real literature, real writers are not just writing to write. They have something to say. Yeah. Even you take like Troy Smith's Good Rebel Soil. He had something to say with that, but also he kind of was using that as an outlet to kind of examine personal issues and do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
Like, it's not just like Champ Ferguson. I'm a history professor. I like history. I'm from Sparta. I'll just write about Champ Ferguson, Now, I have read books where I think people are just right. Well, there's a book I bought called Mango Crush, and it's the series called the Mango Bob series.
Okay.
And my fascination with Florida. I went through a phase where I was trying to find books set in St. Augustine as I sit here in my St. Augustine sweater. But this one said it was set there, and I was like, okay. And I read the little synopsis, and he was waiting in the parking lot at the Castillos. And I don't know, I like reading books sometimes where I can recognize the places. I was like, oh yeah, I know exactly where it's at. So I bought it, and that's the only scene in the book that's in St. Augustine. It was like completely misleading. Anyways, I've thought about doing a personal review over this book on my podcast, but I feel like we've done a pretty good job of staying positive. I could not stay positive on this one. Because the dude, the Mango Bob, is the guy's cat. Basically, this guy has written a book about him and his cat, and he has made himself to be like a stud. Like, lady, I live in this RV, but ladies just cannot stop touching me.
We have to review this one.
And it's awful.
I don't even need to hear the rest of it. I'm bought in. I want to read how bad this is.
It's self-published, and the first page, it says, please do not give this book to someone, or please do not take this to a used bookstore. If someone would like to read this, please recommend them to Amazon. And so, so it's like, dude, you're not even an artist. Do you know what I'm saying? You're not even an artist.
I'm a bad writer, so I can. It takes one to know one. I want to read this.
Okay. I'll bring it down to you. So this Christmas break, you're going to read Orchard Keeper and Mango Crush. It's bad, man. It's bad.
Sam Beckett, not to be confused with the protagonist from Quantum Leap, who is perpetually stuck leaping from life into life.
Is his name Sam?
His name is Dr. Samuel Beckett.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I was thinking of Solo. Beckett.
What irony, though, if Sam Beckett did leap into the writer Sam Beckett while struggling to finish Waiting for Godot. But this Sam Beckett is classically known for writing theater of the absurd. Mm-hmm. And I've discussed absurdist theater with, like, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead. There are absurdist elements to it. This guy, hallmark classic example of theater of the absurd, which is supposed to dramatize human experience, like you're in a cycle, you're repetitive, you're never getting anywhere. What are we even doing here? That there's long silences, there's repetitive dialogue, or even just sparse language like what we were mocking up before with where, when, who, because why. Like, it just that. The stripped down staging, all of it. Sam Beckett, you had said that good writers are going to be invoking, like, personal reasons into their writing. And I 100% agree with that. But we've also talked before how good writers, I think, typically don't provide you answers. They don't provide nice, neat, packed, moralistic answers to the play. They want to show you some stuff, and they want you to ask questions. They want you all to discuss among yourselves. They want you to do that. Maybe we hold up a mirror to society, but I don't know that we have any. It's like the ghost of Christmas Present, where it just kind of echoes your words back to you and is like, how about that, huh? What do you think about that now? I really wish you would read Eugene O'Neill's Long Day's Journey into Night, because I'm just coming off of that with Toby, and I can't help but see similarities here. Eugene O'Neill writes that play, and there is no resolution. There is no real denouement. It's a tragedy, but he doesn't seem to offer you any catharsis. He doesn't offer you any redemption. It just ends with the day ending, and it's we're over.
Okay, McCarthy.
We right. We would not have had Seinfeld if it weren't for theater of the absurd.
That's true.
Because Seinfeld is a show about nothing.
Yeah.
And what's this a play about? Nothing.
Nothing.
I mean, and that's often a criticism of Long Day's Journey into Night is, what are we even doing here? Who's the antagonist? I don't know. Is it everybody? I don't know. Who's the antagonist of Waiting for Godot?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, the best guess would be Pazzo.
But even Pazzo shows
Godot
up.
would be, would he not?
Or is Godot?
Yeah.
Is Godot even real?
He's got to be, because
he?
the brothers come and talk and say, hey, he's just sitting at
They don't even know who Godot is. They don't have clear answers on anything. What a great absurdist theater look. Sam Beckett notoriously never commented on meaning to this play. If you sat down to interview him and you're like, so, well, let's play this real quick.
Oh, all right, there.
I'm Sam Beckett.
Okay.
You get to interview me, but you get to ask one question about our play, Waiting for Godot. Because you're a great journalist, so what would a journalistic mind
Well, I'm going to
ask?
tell you what, was Pazzo Godot? That's what I would want to know.
Oi. I don't know. Oh, God, he wouldn't say oi. That's Australian.
No, that's like also like Cockney.
Oi. I'm an idiot.
No.
So ask your question again.
Mr. Beckett, I was putting some things together.
Top of the morning.
Well, top of the morning to you too. I was putting some things together, and I was wondering. I feel like Pato is Godot, but
You really think that?
I think that Vladimir and Estragon maybe have gotten the name wrong and aren't really sure, or maybe it's just like some. So I didn't know if Pato was Godot. What was your writing process with?
Don't know.
Okay.
You got any whiskey here?
Oh,
Anything to drink?
yeah. I got something for you right here.
But he notoriously never provided answers to what he meant with his play. It's just one of those of like, he shipped it out. I was like, yeah, I don't know. How about that? What about it?
Well, I do tell my students also, like, with these things. So when an author's writing with purpose, they're going to want you to obviously pick up on some theme and messaging, right? That's why we look at literary elements, is because it's like a neon sign that's pointing us towards that. Whether it's like repetition, we were talking about how this is repetitive dialogue, repetition. Or that's one I think is a huge one, is if a word keeps coming up, you better be paying attention. But anyways, so I do think that there are some things that authors want us to, but also I just think about Barbara Gerber when we talk about this stuff, because she is someone who has taught her own writing in class, but took her name off of it. And she's talked about how weird of an experience that was to have people pull different meanings out of something that she explicitly knew was the meaning. And it would, like, she would say, like, they would come up with like some off the wall stuff, but still she could be like, oh wait, but I can understand how they got to this conclusion. And she would never correct them. So I could see Samuel Beckett kind of being like, oh yeah, that's an interesting point. But at the same time, Mr. Mango Crush, isn't that the point of it though? Like, if I write something and you're thinking on it, then yeah, maybe you are right. Maybe you are right. Maybe I didn't really. But I do wonder sometimes with stuff like that, if an author has purpose. We teach that.
Yeah.
But like, sometimes I wonder if there's like subconscious things going on that's kind of connecting these and weaving these things together. Because I do think that sometimes authors don't really realize some of the things that they've put together and how that can give us some sort of meaning in a completely different plane.
Yeah, sure. So pretend that you had to explain this play to Annie.
Oh, okay.
Annie wanted to know what you've been reading. What's that book? How do you explain the plot of this to your own child?
I would say, how after school when I pick you up and I have to do a podcast.
That's an episode. That's an episode.
You have to wait. Just imagine if Mr. Crockett didn't show up and I waited there all night, and then Jane came down the hall and said, he'll podcast with you tomorrow. And I said, okay. And I picked you up again, and I sat and we waited, and Jane came down again that night and was like, he said he'll podcast with you tomorrow. He can't today. And I said, what's he doing down there? And she said, oh, he's just watching TikTok.
And beating my brother Atticus.
Yeah. No, that would be what having Atticus would come the next night, wouldn't he? Yeah, Atticus would come the next night.
Didn't he send your sister?
Oh, Tiny Tim, what are you doing here?
It made me feel like I was in an episode of Seinfeld right now, like when they're pitching the idea for the Seinfeld show to the NBC execs, and they're like, well, what's the show about? And George is like, it's a show about nothing. Where are the stories? No stories. Well, what are you going to do for an episode? And he's like, what'd you do today? I drove to work. That's an episode right there. I do feel like this play feels so real. Sometimes this play feels so real, or can be so relatable in just an everyday modern context, if you actually ask yourself about it. Or if you've never watched it before and you sit and you think, oh, this is a play about feeling stuck and just kind of walking in circles. You mean like at my job? You mean like in this relationship where she and I keep talking about the same 7 things over and over these boring dates that we're going, like, what am I even doing here? Or, you know, you have these friends who every now and then show up in your life and they're loud and boisterous, but why am I even hanging out with these people? And then here they go again. Goodbye. And let's do it all over again tomorrow and again next year. Waiting for Godot. You know, I also don't know. I don't know how Sam Beckett wants us to pronounce it.
Oh.
I don't know if it's Godot or Godot, and I don't know if it matters.
I don't know that it matters either. I just assumed it. Well, the play's set in France. So
Yeah.
that's why I thought it was Godot.
But it's also this weird, it almost seems like a post-apocalyptic wasteland.
It kind of does, yeah.
Right? Like, I don't know if it's like a dreamlike world. I don't know if it's a no place, like a pocket universe. I don't know if it's a future disaster.
You told me not to look up anything before we podcasted about this. And the only thing that I watched a TED Ed video because I know that I told you after I read the play, I was so confused. And it did take me watching the play to appreciate it a lot more. It's really tough to read on its own. It's really tough to read. Because it's like you said, it is absurd.
I wanted you to watch it. Yeah, I wanted you to look up stuff. I just didn't want you to feel like you had to go find the authoritative answer. Because I just wanted to know what your mind thought.
But on the TED Ed video I watched, because they did a video, is like why it's important to read Waiting for Godot, and I was like, that's the exact question I'm wondering right now.
That's literally on my page right here.
But they had mentioned that a lot of people thought that it was a post-apocalyptic world, that it, or it might even be like a purgatory or like a waiting room for hell or something like that. So there were a lot of people who thought that this was not literally France, that this was some sort of supernatural type thing that was going on.
There are, I mean, it's a 2-act play. There are only 5 characters in the whole play. You get Vladimir and Estragon, the 2 main hobos. But they have their differences. Vladimir tends to be the more reflective, philosophical one, who's always thinking back to like memories and ideas. He's the one bringing up, there were 2 sinners crucified with Christ on the same day, 2, but the Gospels don't agree. And then you got Estragon, who's so much more grounded in his body and the present moment, the environment. He's the hungry one, wants the carrot. Oh, you got a turnip? I'll take a carrot.
What's up with that? Have a turnip.
He's weary and forgetful. He's the one who's like, oh, I got something in my shoe. There's nothing in his shoe. Leaves his boots behind, comes back, got new boots. But then while they're back and forth in this repetitive circle waiting for Godot, you also have 2 other strangers who show up in Act 1, Pazzo and Lucky. And Lucky, they're all wearing bowler hats. That's one thing I think that Sam Beckett probably did comment is, what's one thing you're sure of about these characters? Well, I know they all wear bowler hats. But Lucky shows up kind of like this slave, this servant, this animal, this brute, beast of burden, where he's carrying all the luggage and he's on a long rope. And behind him is loud, boisterous Pazzo, who's cracking a whip and, yeah, boy, yeah, yeah. And Lucky never puts down the bags. Like he'll take the whip, he'll put the coat on.
Why does he not put his bags down?
Right. But he doesn't do it. And then by the end of the day, you have the 5th character, the boy who comes along. By Act 2, they are changed somewhat because then Pazzo's blind and Lucky did have this huge speech in Act 1, but by Act 2 he's mute. But those are your only 5 characters. I always want to talk about like really great or well-known actors who have played them, and I'm so glad you reminded me because you watched the one that featured.
I've watched bits and pieces of the one with Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart. And then I did watch bits and pieces of the one you've got here with Robin Williams and Steve Martin.
Right.
Yeah.
I had forgotten that Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen, who they seem to be such great buddies, and right, and they have such great chemistry together. They make a perfect Vladimir and Estragon, Didi and Gogo.
I think so too.
Arguing with each other, and yet they're going to be there and then arguing with each other. I think having watched the clips that I've seen of that on YouTube, perfect. But yeah, Robin Williams and Steve Martin. I watched a YouTube clip of that yesterday, and Steve Martin's Vladimir was falling to the ground, and Robin Williams, God bless him. He was a mastermind of improv.
Oh, I
and
know.
He's coming up with these things that aren't in the script, and he's doing the whole dee, 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 like it's his heart rate is dying. But what great body comedy as well, with them practically dancing around on stage. There's another one that featured Zero Mostel, who was known for being in Fiddler on the Roof and stuff, and Burgess Meredith, the Penguin, or Rocky's coach. Burgess Meredith, classic. They
Penguin, Robin.
We'll have to come back to that in a Batman show someday. And one of the more recent ones, I think this was like 2017 or something like that. It had Bill Irwin and Nathan Lane as Vladimir and Estragon.
And Bill Irwin, we all know, was the crocodile hunter.
Well, or was he the cousin to the crocodile hunter?
Oh, wait, that was Steve.
Was that the
Steve
brother's
Irwin.
cousin's
Oh, my
sister's friend who knew him from the sit-go? Maybe. Do you know Bill Irwin, the most familiar thing I recognize him from is the Jim Carrey Grinch movie.
Oh.
He plays Cindy Lou Who's dad at the post office.
Okay.
That's Bill Irwin. Oh. Like, I'm sure he's been in a billion other things, but that's the only thing I really like. Oh, yeah, I know him. Nathan Lane, Tony Award-winning actor, has been in a billion things.
He's like one of the Timon and Pumbaa, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
And something I was shocked to find out, I also know who Patso and Lucky are in that one. Lucky was played by, oh God, his last name's Glover, and I'm forgetting his first name.
Danny.
Because, I don't think it's Danny.
Dang.
I remember him from Bill Murray's Scrooged. He plays the competitor that Bill Murray is feeling like he's being pushed out by. And Patso, the big, loud, boisterous voice, is played by John Goodman.
Oh, wow.
Who I'm thinking, oh, golly, that's a perfect Patso right there.
Do you think so?
I do, just because I imagine Patso to be such a big, loud presence and bragging and blah, 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 and that's John Goodman's voice.
I do love John Goodman, though.
Who would you have picked for a Patso?
No clue.
No idea?
Yeah.
Well, one of our questions, if we're getting to the real literary questions, between us, who is Vladimir and who is Estragon?
Well, we talked in the hall that we felt like that I was Vladimir and that you were Estragon.
And you were like, I don't know if you agree with it, and you said your answer, and I was like, yeah, that's right. Why are you Vladimir, and why are you Dee Dee, and why am I Go-Go?
I just was thinking about watching the Ian McKellen. I know that we've talked about this before, but he's going through that thing about Jesus and the thieves, and then Estragon's just sitting there, and he's like, I hope I'm not boring you. And I know I'll come out here in the hall and just be sitting there talking, and I'm like, I will think that sometimes. I'm just sitting here yapping, and he's probably like, it's 7 a.m. Can you please shut up? Sometimes you do that.
I do. I feel like Go-Go is just that kind of guy, though. But no, I think it's perfect. They're such vaudevillian characters, like a Laurel and Hardy or whatever. And you just put them on stage, and it's Vladimir and Estragon. I think it's great.
Also, too, I think about one thing that I thought that made it is whenever he's trying to help, they're wanting to help Patso up, and Vladimir's like, let's help him up. And Estragon's like, no, let's not help him up. I'm like, I was thinking that's like us with kids in grades. Like, if you guys just give him like a 60 on this, and that way he won't fail. And I'll be like, okay. But you'll be like, no, don't help him up.
I've been here all 180 days. He didn't.
And then when we do end up helping him, we fall down there with them too. Oh, crap.
I can't get up. Just stay down. This play needs to be watched to be appreciated.
Yeah, I agree with that.
100%. I think the comedy on stage, there's so much room for the actors to do what they want with it. And I think Sam Beckett's a genius for coming up with something like this. You can disagree. I think he's a genius for coming up with something like this.
It's like I was telling you, I wanted to mention that scene where they get Lucky's hat, and they're all three like there's 4 bowler hats, but they're passing it, and one will get one's hat and place it on and pass the hat to the next. And when he gets the hat, he takes his hat off and puts that hat on, and he passes it to the next. And then that one takes that hat and takes his hat off and places it. And when I was reading it, it was exhausting to read because it was like half a page long. And but I think that's like a testament to what you were saying is it's got to be watched. Because when I read it, I thought, I'm sure that I would be belly laughing watching this on stage, but reading it was exhausting. And I was just kind of like, I don't want to read this. Like, I don't want to read this. The stage, I think honestly, the stage directions drove me insane because it was a lot of like silence, which is, I get it. They've got to be there. If you're the playwright and you want there to be silence and stuff like that. But it just sometimes it was, you would have this repetitive dialogue and then the stage directions would also be repetitive in themselves. And that's what I was saying, to read it, it was awful. But to watch it, it was great.
But bro, as somebody who works in modern day education in 2025 and the repetitive nature of starting off the year, let's fill out these forms where you got to go through and do this, and you got to sit through these meetings that you've heard 17 billion times. And now we're going to watch these YouTube videos about people from your district, and now we're going to do this and this. And you're just like, oh no, another Jason Foundation training, another, video that I have to do.
I just want to actually plan my year out.
I just want to plan my year. Why? Who? Because of them? Maybe. I don't know.
Well, even then, every year I'm like, this is going to be my breakout year. I'm going to grade every Thursday. I'm going to be on top of things and highly organized. And by week 3, I'm like, this is just the same as last year. You're just this. It's so, yeah.
By week 3, it turns out Godot's not coming after all. Yeah. But he'll be here next month. He'll be here next
semester.
Next semester we'll have it together.
Like, okay. Because I've thought that this year. I thought, man,
I'll do it right next time.
I know that they're probably really upset with me up front because of my grading this semester. And next semester, they're going to be like, oh, carry on, sir. But then, nope, I'm probably going to have a knock on the door mid-semester.
Man, I love the holidays at the end of the year. I love it. I love October, November, December. They're my three favorite holidays of the year. It's the perfect season for me. It's because dark's setting in. Things are getting colder. It's family time. You get to watch movies. We're coming to the end of your work time. Like, I just love it. The togetherness, the lights, the celebration, everything. I hate New Year's. I despise New Year's. And that sounds really antithetical to somebody who also encourages kids, hey, you get a new chance. You can be a new you. You can do whatever you want. New Year's is supposed to be a chance for you to do a new you, new year, come out swinging. I hate the after Christmas, whatever that gray is.
Oh, yeah.
I hate New Year's. And that's this.
That's what I was going to say.
That's this.
You're talking about like alternate realities that this play could be set in. It could be set that week after Christmas, between Christmas and New Year's.
It really could.
Because you really do just kind of sit there and wait. Because usually your family stuff's done. The kids have gotten their presents. I know that I always look at the Christmas tree like the next day, just kind of odd. It's almost like, you shouldn't be here, but I'm going to let you stay here.
See, I have a different attitude with that.
Oh, yeah?
And I will cut this out because it happened again this morning.
Oh, it's like your in-laws. You shouldn't be here, but I'm going to let you.
Isn't it time for you to go? No. My contention is that Christmas, I spend so much of the time driving. I don't get that time to sit around the house and just look at the tree.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Well, when we first got married, it wasn't so bad, but then you have kids.
Mm-hmm. Well, this morning I was in an irritable mood just because that's how Estragon is. I was in an irritable mood. And as I was leaving, I was hugging April and I said something like, oh, I just feel so bad because I've not been working out consistently. And my mother-in-law brought candy and there was chocolate in the kitchen. Yeah. There was no protein, but there was chocolate. And I was like, dude, what are you even doing? What are you even doing? Why are you back in this circle? You're doing the same thing you were doing last year. Like, why? Yeah. And she said, oh, well, today's your last day and you'll be able to do it different next time.
That's what Mary Beth's been telling
You'll be able to do it different. And I said, oh, you mean while I have to drive back and forth for the next 2 weeks because I'm going to have to drive here, be there at their house, and then drive here, and then everybody's going to want... That's me. I'm Vladimir and Estragon myself right now.
One year I got sick, though, and I left my mom and dad's breakfast early, and I laid on the couch Christmas Day and watched Mythbusters, and that's still one of my favorite Christmases.
Oh,
it was we're not running around, and I was just sick enough that I didn't feel like getting up, but I was not sick enough that I could still like lay there and not suffer, and it was like.
That is 100% the truth. I don't remember. Oh, yeah, I do. It was the year that Andy and his girlfriend potentially had COVID.
Oh.
Because she had COVID. Her family had it. And since he had been so close to her, we were like, oh, man, we got to quarantine because you might have it and now we might have it. So we had to spend 5 days at the house. And it's like, well, we can't go to Ohio right now. We'll have to go after Christmas. Well, we can't go to Nashville. And that was so good to just be with ourselves, cooking for ourselves. It was a cold Christmas, and there were movies on. It was so good just to be there.
Yeah. Well, I don't get sick often like that. Mary Beth and I were talking about that the other night. She was like, you've been sick our marriage 2 times. And that was one of them. And when she got home, she did all the running around with the kids. She got home, and she was kind of looking at me. She's like, have you been on the couch all day? And I was like, yeah. And she goes, you really are sick, aren't you? And I was like, yeah.
These conversations really are waiting for Godot. They really are. Always got to ask, what makes this play not appear in high school ELA, AP Lit? What makes it not? It is a Hallmark classic. I always say Hallmark, and it makes me think of Christmas crap. It is an iconic work of American theater. Why don't we see it in community theater?
British
stages?
theater.
Right? British theater. Thank you.
It is the American way.
I have to delete all of this.
It is the British way.
This is an iconic work of modern theater. Why don't we see it on community theater stages even?
Okay.
Well, no classrooms, no stages. Why?
It's elevated for sure. I think it takes an elevated actor. Look at the names that we've got listed here to play this, okay? Now, we talked about Equus, and we've got college kids trying to, and that makes sense, doesn't it? We college students are going, Equus is so philosophical, and so are we. And so we're going to perform this because only we as college students, I say that as someone who's aiming to teach college students, but that's the attitude. Do you know what I'm saying? But this is like, I feel like that this is a prose play. Do you know what I mean? This is like a prose play. You got Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart, and I feel like it takes someone with that to handle it. I've joked that you and I should do it, but just because I think that we're silly enough with each other that it would be funny just us, because I think we would get cracked up on stage.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that that's one reason. I also think that this has to be seen. That's why I don't know. I think you and I have kind of talked about it. I do think that there's some things in a modern classroom that are probably going to have to start changing whether we want it to or not. And I do think that it is, this would be something to do if you were willing to teach it predominantly from a viewing. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that there's this stigma that you can't do that's not real teaching, that's lazy. But I don't think so. You know, you've got the play in front of you. Why can you not go back and reference the text?
Right.
So I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, is it easier to sit back and watch something than to sit there and have the kids read it? And well, yeah, but at the same time, are they still getting the same elements?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I tried to tell my freshmen at the beginning of the year is, if you like stories, period, then you should like English class, because the things that we teach in English class apply to not. Ho, ho, ho.
Listen up, people. All of us in the library.
Did you take your attendance?
Who Santa is. So please make your way to the library. Thank you.
I don't even know what they're talking about. Because they were like talking about it. Greg was like, is it Santa Claus with an E? Up in the office. And then I was up there and he goes, I bet it was Drew Haston. Yeah. And I go, yep, it was me. And he goes, yeah, right. And just walked out.
I'm telling you.
Like, what are you talking
Real
about?
life is an episode of Waiting for Godot. And that was the conversation.
And then it started going.
And instead of a boy showing up, it's the intercom with Monica. Listen up, people.
Bum, bum, bum. Anyways, let me get my train of thought back. Oh, the elements that we're teaching are that you can apply them to anything, and it's going to make your experience in that story. I mean, I told you the other day about that student that was sitting at my desk while I was trying to get some end of the year work done, wanting to talk about Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh yeah.
And he got to talking about Arthur and his character and all this stuff, and I was like, dude, like you have got to realize that he is the perfect. We talked about Scrooge as a character arc. I was like, Arthur Morgan is a redemptive character, and Arthur Morgan is a character who changes, and he's complex. And I was like, that is the Red Dead Redemption series is storytelling. Like, don't discount that, people. It is storytelling. Yeah, you go last night. My Arthur Morgan was given a bath. Yeah. It's a video game, right? But there's still like some really deep storytelling there. And if I, as a student, think that the elements that I'm being taught only apply to the written word, well, then I'm going to miss out on that storytelling too. And so I do think, like I said, I do think that media is changing and people are reading, and you and I have talked about that. I do think people are reading more. I don't think that they're reading the deepest stuff, but I do think it's easier for us to introduce deeper concepts like this to our students if we're willing to say, let's view this together.
Right. I think everything you've just said, I agree with. The play is slow and has deliberate repetition, fragmented dialogue, and reading it demands patience.
Yes.
One of the things that we should bring up is how you could almost trace this evolution in plays. You look at Shakespeare, who gives you so little like in text, what do we call it? Scene direction.
Right.
But other playwrights like August Wilson and others will give you more. Mm-hmm. You look at Eugene O'Neill's Long Day's Journey into Night, and there's like whole pages of exposition of what should be happening on stage exactly this way. Well, it may not be that much in Waiting for Godot, but it's repetitive just like the dialogue is. So it demands a patience and a focus from your reader. The play is going to deal with uncertainty about answers. Like, it's not going to provide you answers. So you have to be okay with asking questions about God, asking questions about humans in the universe. It's an existential play and all of that. But it opens the door on looking at something like the Three Stooges. And if we can do whatever. And then, okay, let's watch a play where they're going to swap the bowler hat 3 times. Is this your, or they're going to be struggling with Lucky. Get up off the floor. No, I don't have to. Like, it opens the door to something like, let's watch Three Stooges and now ask, is this literary? Mm-hmm. Is Three Stooges literary? I mean, it may be entertaining, but is it literary? And what's the difference between that, Laurel and Hardy, or Vladimir and Estragon? Like, what's the difference?
But I mean, I think that you can do that.
Right. But we don't do that.
Yeah.
Maybe because...
Oh, my gosh.
If you brought cookies to the library, you need to come to the library and get your containers and your leftover cookies. Thank you.
Because Mr. Godot will not be here today. He might be back tomorrow, but he won't be here today. Yeah. But it does open the door into using it in the classroom. I kind of want to use this with AP next year.
And I think that you can. I do. That's what I'm saying, though. Like, I think you and I both sometimes do get into this. I don't want to say naive plane, but maybe this, help me think of the word.
Ivory tower.
Yeah, but what is it? Oh, gosh. I can't think of the exact word, but yes, where we think that, okay, I have a higher set of thinkers here, and they're going to buy into this because of that. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I do think that even the AP kids still need to view it. Yeah. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Because I
agree.
I feel like that we're high level readers. Yeah. And I was kind of just sitting. It was like a 110-page play, and the words are short. Yeah. And I thought, I read Driving Miss Daisy in about an hour and a half. And I read Waiting for Godot right after that. And I thought, I'll be done with this time tomorrow. It took me 4 days because I would sit there and get so frustrated and bored reading it. And so that's what I'm saying. I think that I do think that it is. When I watched the TED Ed video and they were like, this is like one of the best works ever, and I think I remember telling you that, like, this makes me feel stupid when I read the reviews and all this stuff. But when you watch it, I kind of was like, oh,
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
You know, but when I read it, and I don't know, and that's what I'm saying, like, look at the trained actors that we have. I mean, Nathan Lane is a theater guy.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
Like he's a trained in that.
Multiple Tony Awards, yes.
Yeah. You know, Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart are some of the greatest actors of
Right.
all time. Robin Williams lives in the like a slapstick comedy genius.
Yeah.
Steve Martin is maybe the most intelligent comedian that we've ever seen.
And banjo player.
Right. And so, like, you list these names off, and I do think that it takes someone with that level of talent to look at a script and say, okay, I see what's going on here. Does that make sense?
I do.
So I do think that, like, that visual thing you would have to show a high school student that.
And not to forget that the newest version of it is going to feature Keanu Reeves
Yeah,
and
I don't understand
Alex Winter,
that.
who played Bill and Ted. They've got Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter, who played Bill and Ted, and they're going to be Vladimir and Estragon.
talk like?
I don't know, but I hope so.
What are we doing here?
Oh, Dee Dee. I want to watch that version, but here's another reason why I definitely want to use Waiting for Godot next year. It slots into all of these conversations that we have about existential themes, reading through lenses, how to read literature like a professor, literary criticism, yada, 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 tragedy, whatever, having no succinct answers to. I struggle to teach comedy. I always want to offer at least one comedy because all we do is teach tragedy at the high school level.
Yeah.
Comedy is way harder to teach. Do you get that? That comedy, we never teach it.
I mean, I've never tried to teach comedy, so I don't know.
But we enjoy laughing. We enjoy laughing. Like, how often are we compared to the Giggle Squad? Like, we enjoy laughing. But comedy is a hard thing to pull off in front of an audience, and comedy is a hard thing to teach because it doesn't always feel as nourishing as tragedy does.
Well, there are some moments, you know, we always talk about how Shakespeare has comic moments. And even myself, when I read it, I'm like, okay, we as
Mother of God.
There's leftover breakfast up here in the kitchen in the office, and there is some fruit in the cafeteria if anybody wants any.
I'm about to text her and be like, man, you're loving hearing your voice today.
Text her, ask her if she's checked her
You
attendance
checked
yet.
your attendance. We as professionals can identify, okay, Shakespeare's trying to be funny here. That's why I like showing the Globe version, because they are trained Shakespearean actors and they will present those in a comedic way that I don't think translates onto film the same way. And there are some crude moments on that one, but the kids kind of roll with it because I think that they're kind of like, oh, yeah, that's funny, you know?
Yeah.
So I do think that it's hard to read comedy. Because I don't know, I there have been a few books that I've read and chuckled at. There have been very few that I've read and just belly laughed at.
Right.
And so I think that it's hard to convey that through the written word.
Right.
But also I think that people, you know, we were just talking about Steve Martin and how intelligent he is, you know, and when Smart and Short, we referenced him too. You know, you think about a movie like Three Amigos.
Yes.
It's funny because it's smart.
Yes.
It's funny. It's like friggin' Airplane. When I watch clips of that, I laugh at that so much because I think that's smart comedy. Like, it's so funny. And I think that our like curriculum instructors, when we mention comedy, and especially us being dudes, think that we're going to bring in like fart noises to class. Which, listen, I'm guilty of that. I'm guilty of standing out in the hall making a fart noise to see if a kid what's their reaction, which is friggin' Waiting for Godot. Because what else am I going to do? What else do I have? It helps to pass the time. That's what I'm going to say next time. And you would be like, well, the time would pass anyway. But I do think that that's like the stigma with it is, well, you're a male and you're just going to want to show Anchorman 10 times. No, you know.
Right.
And so I think that I think that that's probably one reason we're hesitant to show comedy.
It always was something that my students failed to connect with as much. And it's probably because I did a bad job with it. But every time you would poll the kids of, hey, what was, some of your favorite things to read this year? They would always pick out tragedies. But then whenever I'd say, well, what about something like, this? Oh, I forgot we read that. Mm-hmm. And so maybe I did a bad job with it. Maybe I was weak with it. There are AP teachers out there who are going to disagree with me on this, and that's fine. But I always ask my students to read during the summer. And I assign them usually a short novel and a short play. So that's when I fit in comedy. And this year they read A Midsummer Night's Dream, and they liked it. But even though we tackled it that first week of trying to look at the comedy of it and yada, 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 compare it to tragedy, it never takes off.
We've talked a lot about like going back to Shakespeare, how everything, and would you rather teach Hamlet over this and all this stuff. Man, and you're probably going to disagree with me on this, but I just don't think that Shakespeare is just flat out funny. And I think that he intends for it to. I think it's the language.
I think it's the time period and context.
I think so too. And I just don't think it connects. I do wonder sometimes if comedy is periodical. We talk about how Shakespeare is everlasting.
Yeah.
We talk about how Charles Dickens is everlasting. How maybe some of McCarthy's stuff will be everlasting. I don't know that comedy can be everlasting, because that's something that Nathan Aaron and I have talked about, because he and I have referenced, I feel like when I was in high school, that the comedy that was coming out, the movies were pretty funny. Where they weren't like smart humor, but it was like Napoleon Dynamite, Nacho Libre, Anchorman, 40-Year-Old Virgin, Wedding Crashers. You could just keep going on and on and on. And that's something that he and I have talked about, is like the sense of humor now is really not there. Like, I can't remember the last time I watched a funny movie, where I was just like, oh, this is hilarious. I've watched some that they say that they're comedy, and you just sit there and you're kind of like, oh yeah, ha ha ha.
Maybe we're just living in the dark times of waiting for Godot.
But no, seriously though,
we're struggling to get off the ground.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that the tragic elements are always going to be the same.
Yeah.
Tragic elements are always going to be the same. I do think that people sense it. But when I listen to Conan's podcast, that stuff that Conan talks about is how, I think Conan is a smart comedian. That's one thing I've always appreciated about him. And that's something that he talks about, is like, he crafted and studied things and worked on jokes and like would write jokes and tell jokes. That wasn't a good one. And now people just flip on YouTube and and Conan has talked about how like he'll be watching it and be like, I don't understand that. That's not even funny. But people still think that it's funny. And they've talked about how like the comedic shift has moved more towards this like almost like a mean funny, like a ridiculous mean funny. And I do think that senses of humor change. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I do think that that's why maybe the Shakespeare comedies don't really land for kids or for me. And that's what I'm saying. It takes Shakespearean trained actors to present it funny, but also they kind of have to do like modern day gags to make it funny.
That's where I was going to come back in, because I just saw a performance of Twelfth Night with Sandra Oh and Peter. She's on Grey's Anatomy, and Peter Dinklage, who was in Game of Thrones and a billion other things. And it was drop dead funny watching him come in on stage and do his yellow leggings that he was coming up with and crawling toward her like a cat, and her like, what are you doing? Good God. Like, she was falling backward. So putting it into the hands of people who can be funny is one thing.
Yeah.
I don't think he himself is necessarily off the table as far as comedy goes, but you do have to put it in the hands of the right people to actually convey it.
Well, it's like in that version of the one that I play.
Yeah.
Like when at the beginning they're like, show your tool, which I'm sure people then were like, bah, ha, ha, ha. But the guy does this sword, and it's like the kids are they kind of look at me like, that's funny, isn't it? And I'm like, yeah, that's funny. And then they'll be fighting, and the prince comes out and they stop, and there's a sword pointing in Mercutio's face, and he starts doing this to it. Right. See, and everybody, the whole class after that first one, and I'm like, yeah, you can laugh at that. And that he does that, the whole class is like, ah, and that's what I'm saying. there are some funny parts, but it takes someone trained to identify that, but then say, okay, I'm going to bring this to a modern day sense of humor. So
Shakespeare's audience would have been a lot less dignified than modern day theater audiences who are trained and expected to sit there and be quiet and then applaud politely and things. Yeah. But his audience is going to be yelling out, down in front, or they're going to be throwing things. Food. That's a man.
Oh, you're kissing a man.
No, kiss a man. Oh, God.
We'll wait for you outside the globe. Won't we, boys?
It's just been way different. I think having kids watch this, I think we could do more with comedy with Waiting for Godot.
Yeah, and I think it's okay to show it.
Any ideas, any extra ideas for teaching it?
I don't know. The only thing that I can think of is we talked yesterday on my podcast about how A Christmas Carol has probably been adapted more. Like, it's had direct adaptations, but it's probably been adapted more than we realize. And I'm wondering, the more we talk about this, how many people have adapted Waiting for Godot and we've not even realized it, you know?
Yeah.
Where it's just that waiting or that repetitive, like Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
You know, is that Waiting for Godot?
I think so.
It's just, so I think... I've always wanted my students to, I think that one thing in literature that's important to realize is we're all connected as humans and our stories can be different, but we're connected in some way or another. I mean, you might be Republican, I might be Democrat, but we're still connected, whether you want to admit that or not. Like, we're still connected. There's some element of us that still is connected. There's still a place where no matter, I mean, you could be a Californian transplant and I'm a native Tennessean, but there's still going to be a level that you and I can connect with or empathize over and stuff like that. And I think that that's kind of one of the points of understanding these elements of literature and playwriting is that, oh, okay, I can see that Vladimir and Estragon are trapped in this repetitive day. And I see that in myself. Like, how easy would this be to teach to kids, though? Because did you want to be here today? No. Why are you here? But that's how you could start off the lesson. Why are you here? What are you doing? Why are your shoes off? You know? But also say, well, what about Bill Murray and Groundhog Day? It just keeps repeating, and it keeps repeating. I mean, I'm sure I could think of, if I had the time, to name off some more, but
no, that's a great idea.
I think you could really connect it and show, I don't know, anytime I get a chance to show things that connect with my kids, I'm going to show the video of that. And it's kind of like this Appalachian unit I've been planning, you know. Is it really important? I'm sorry, I'm really yapping. There is a clip that I have saved in my notes. It's not early Appalachia. It's like 1940s, I think. It's a coal miner, and he's talking about Christmas, and he's like, well, my little boy, he's got that talk going, you know. He's like, my little boy, he's really wanting a race cart, a wagon, and, you know, he just... I've been working hard for it, and he's starting to realize that I just hadn't got the hours enough that I'm going to get. So he knows he's probably not going to get that wagon this year, you know. But the reason I want them to see that is because Ely talks about in his books all the time. Like, he'll talk about guys walking, and he'll be like, he walked in that mountain man way. What is that? Well, in that video, that guy is like tall and lanky, and he's just leaned up against a fence, just real casual talking. There it is. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like do they need to see that? Not really, but I want them to see that. Look how we are connected. Even these characters from 1789 still have things that you have because you live here, right? Yeah. So you could easily connect Waiting for Godot with real life experience and their experience and all that good
I
stuff.
1,000,000,000% agree. I feel like, I know I always say that it's more relevant now than ever, but just sometimes the futility of a day, the absurdity of the conversations you have to have with students in the hallway.
with coworkers.
Who will say some of the most random, and you're just like, why are you here?
How are you
even in this job? That was one of the quotable quotes on here. I feel like
Quoting quotables.
There was a line here where Estragon gets so defeatist and he says, I can't go on like this. But then your Vladimir says, that's what you think. And I feel like during hall duty sometime, I'm just going to be so mad. And I'm going to say, I just cannot keep going on with this. And you're going to look at me with the eyebrows. That's what you think.
Or like, that reminds me of the part where he's telling him about Jesus. And
Yes.
he's like, saved us from what? He's like, from hell. And Estragon goes, I'm going there.
I also love if you are getting into conversations, quote unquote, with people who think that they have biblical arguments for whatever, and yet they can't quote it right, or they're whatever. Like, it's a perfect one here where he says, hope deferred maketh the something sick. And it's like, you're not even quoting it right, and yet you're trying to sound so theological, so whatever. Waiting for Godot is just super relevant.
Do you know what I
think
think would be fun for you to do if you do teach this with AP is to have them partner up and create their own Waiting for Godot situation.
I love
that. Would be cool.
Yeah. I was
I
going to
think
take
they
them
could
out
do
into the
that.
middle of nowhere and like an empty parking lot.
No, tell them to wait for you.
Wait.
Dude,
that
you
is
could do
so
that in the
brilliant.
building.
I love it.
You could do that in the building. And I
I
could be
love it.
Pazzo because we would have to have someone to like. So I would come in there.
Who's going to be lucky? Xander.
Oh my gosh.
Make it
Pig. Move, pig. And then yeah, that's perfect. Because
You'll-
why doesn't he speak? Well, he used to.
He used to. And then he'll get
I'm
one
taking
shot.
him to the fair.
He'll get one monologue where he gets to say blah, 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 everything. Lucky.
I'm taking him to Warrior Media to see if they'll buy him.
And you'll open the door. I'll tell them all to wait in the distance lab. You'll open the door and they'll be like, oh, it's Mr. Crockett. And you can be like, Crockett? Who's that? Why'd you call me Crockett? Why would you think I'm him? Who's Crockett?
And then you'll send a student down. He'll meet with you guys tomorrow.
And then let's see how long it takes
But then-
before they stop showing up.
They come the next day and I come in and then I like bump into stuff. I'm blind. I've always been blind. What are you talking about?
I love it. And then you'll have to wear a different, well, it would have to be the same hat, but you could do like different, I don't know, costumes.
Yeah, that'd be-
Maybe you could do like sunglasses with a mustache one day, a wig the next day, something. I don't know.
That'd be great.
All right.
Okay.
I don't have anything else to say.
I don't either.
Good.
Godot.
Good. Good. Second Stage is a free zone radio production, recorded here in Sparta, Tennessee. If you enjoyed the show, please give it a like, share it, subscribe for more. Word of mouth truly is the best advertising. And if you want to hear more, look up our other podcast, With Honors, now in its second season, and our brother podcasts, A Dead Man's Books and Haston Curations.
Hey everyone, my name is Drew, and I want to talk to you about my show, A Dead Man's Books. The show was created with the mindset of whenever I pass away, as morbidly as that sounds, that my children would inherit my books. And of all the things that I'm going to pass down to them, I think that that's the one thing that I want them to make sure that they keep and go through on their own time. But I want to be there next to them whenever they read these things. And so I created a podcast so that they could go back and listen to me and my friends and other people as we read through these books and what we had to think about it. But it's grown to so much more. We've got authors we interview. We talk about everyday life. We talk about how literature connects to life. All of those things in one place. And now we want you to come along with us and join us. This is a podcast not just for my kids, but for everyone who loves to read, everyone who loves a good story, everyone who's a parent, everyone who's a teacher, everyone who just enjoys literature. This is a place to come. So come join us every Monday on A Dead Man's Books.